Man, I'm ready to jump right in. You guys have been blowing confessions up. I heard we went viral on TikTok this past week. It's crazy. Diane, they told me we created a TikTok on Thursday, and they put the first video from confessions on, and in 2 days, this has over 250,000 views. What the world? What the world? And so, no pressure to keep it up. But we're in the middle of a sermon series called Confessions. And what we've been doing, yes, is looking at that popular album in 2004 that Usher dropped that pretty much changed the game. And today, I don't have a whole lot to go into it because I want to get to the meat of this sermon. I think you all pretty much know it's the GOAT album of our generation for sure. But today, I want to talk about Let It Burn. I want to talk about Let It Burn. And I was thinking about this on the way up here. I don't know if this is the great Valentine's Day message, but it might save you some money and some time. You never know. But I do want to share some stuff that's been on my heart. Let me jump straight into it. Usher, he starts this off with this verse, and I think this is pretty amazing. Look at what he says. He says, see, it's burning me to hold on to this. I know this is something that I got to do, but that don't mean that I want to. Okay, this whole thing's about communication. And he says, it don't mean that I want to. What I'm trying to say is that I love you. I just feel like this thing is, coming to an end. And it's better for me to let it go now than hold on and hurt you. I gotta let it burn. This song, in simple, is about a person who's in a tug-o-war. Come here. Is in a tug-o-war with their emotions. Y'all know I be working hard on some of this stuff. My man gonna play tug-of-war with me. Let's throw this up. And so here's what's happening. Stack back a little bit. This red flag, it's gonna represent you. And oftentimes what we're in tug-of-war with, keep going, is go back. Let's put that flag back. We start off in our comfort zone and we settle. And oftentimes we're in this tug-of-war because right before we get to our assignment and our purpose and our call, it seems like something just keeps pulling us back to our comfort zone and where we settle at. And this entire song is about this person who's in a tug-of-war between his heart and his head and his emotions. He wants to come over to this side, but something keeps pulling him back. He knows what he has to say. He knows what he has to do. See, the tug-of-war in this case is between the right thing and the wrong thing. The right thing in this instance is to actually leave. And the wrong thing is to stay. And so what's happening is he has all of this stuff going on inside of him. He knows he wants to go to his comfort zone and his assignment and his purpose, but something keeps dragging him back over here. How do we navigate? I want to teach a message called Tug-of-War Sucks. It sucks. So here's the idea. Oftentimes when we find ourselves in this tug-of-war situation, don't go too far, Joe, I might have you come back. Oftentimes what happens is we end up doing something that is the absolute worst thing that you could possibly do. You want to hear what it is? Follow your heart. So many people say it's time to follow your heart. Just follow your heart. Follow your heart. Your heart knows what's best. Your heart knows what's right. Oh my gosh, if you would just go with your heart. And I'm trying to tell you that there's this prophet who started prophesying the book of Jeremiah, chapter number 17. And I find it interesting because the world tells us to follow our heart. And look at what he says. The heart is deceitful above. What does all leave out? So out of all the things that you know a lot of things, don't you? That's a noun. People, person, people, place. What is it? People, person, place, a thing. Out of all the things that you know, the heart is the most deceitful above all those things. Meaning there is nothing more deceitful than your heart. And watch this, and desperately sick. Not just sick, but desperately sick. Another translation says desperately wicked. He then says, who can understand it? Wait a second. You mean to tell me that this world will tell me to follow my heart? This same heart that lets me know that it's sick, is desperate, and no one gets it. That's why Solomon said in Proverbs 4:23, above all things, guard your heart. Why? Because if my heart isn't guarded, then it's open and susceptible. And if my heart is open and susceptible, it will resort back to its natural condition, which is wicked and sick. And yet, so many of us want to follow this thing called the heart. The heart is a terrible leader. The heart is a terrible leader. Well, I'm married, Pastor. I ain't got to worry about that. Listen, you're going to be in relationship with something. Even if it's not a person that has you going back and forth and playing tug-of-war. Maybe it's alcohol. Maybe it's drugs. Maybe it's pornography. Maybe it's lust. But there's going to be something that is going to be pulling you back from crossing the line, going into your purpose and your destiny. And you're going to have to decide today, what relationships do you need to let burn? What relationships do you need to let burn? In fact, Usher said it this way. He said it this way. Check this out. He said, I'm twisted. At least he was honest. Because one side of me is telling me that I need to move on. And on the other side, I want to break down and cry. One side of me is telling me that I need to move on. And on the other side, I want to break down and cry. That is the raw emotions of someone who is caught in the middle. Come here, Joe. Of tug-and-war. We're going to get a good workout today. I'm twisted because one side of me is telling me that I need to move on. And on the other side, I want to break down and cry. One side of me is telling me that I need to move on. But on the other side, I want to break down and cry. King Solomon, wisest man to ever live, was writing in Ecclesiastes chapter number 3, verse number 6. I want to free some people up. He said, there's a time to seek and a time to lose. But here's the verse right here, Diane. There's a time to keep. Sometimes there is a time to fight. Sometimes there is a time to fight for what you believe in, fight for what you've been building, fight to make it work, fight to stay in there, fight to be in the marriage, fight to do it. Like sometimes there's a time for that. But don't stop reading. Because sometimes there's a time to just throw the whole thing away. Sometimes there is a time to say, this ain't even worth it no more. Sometimes there is a time to say that I'm through with it, I'm done with it, I don't want to do this. This thing right here ain't even worth what? My time, my energy, my focus, my call, my morals, my energy. Like no, this isn't even time. I don't have time for this anymore. Sometimes you got to know it's okay to let go, let it burn, and walk away. But here's what I've discovered. The reason why most of us will not do it, I got 3 reasons why. 3 reasons why most of us will not let it burn. 3 reasons why most of us will not let go. Here's the first one. We won't let go because we don't understand our value. I think the reason why some of us stay in relationships that we should really get out of and walk away from is because we don't understand our value. I want to read this story to you found in 1 Kings chapter number 19. It's a story really about Elijah, who's this well-known prophet. He's the man. He is like the dude for real. He is the greatest force to reckon with, and he encounters Elisha. Elisha is working the family business. Elisha is taking care of the oxen. Actually, it's a yoke of 12 oxen, which is 24. And so he's doing the family business. But I think if you begin to really read this story and read in between the lines, I think Elisha is in trouble. He's navigating the relationship that he has with his parents and deciding, does he want to continue to stay and work the family business, or should he go after his purpose and his call? He's navigating this entire thing. And so I want to pick up, okay, how about that? Sometimes, don't you know, like deep down inside of you, there's got to be more than this? Yeah. I just heard that. Like, it's not bad. It's just not the best. It's awesome. It's just not anointed. It's good. It's just not great. And I think sometimes what happens is, like, the world will tell you, why would you leave something like that? And you got to decide, well, whose standards are you going to live by? Because I can settle for good, or I can have great. I can settle for okay, or I can have God's best. And so we start picking up at verse 19. I want you to see this. So he departed from there and found Elisha, the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen. That's 24 oxen in total. And in front of him, and he was with the 12. Elijah passed by him, and here's the good, and he cast his cloak upon him. Now, when Elijah took his cloak off and threw it on Elisha, this was Elijah recognizing the value that Elisha had. There was something deep inside of Elijah, probably God saying, this person here is next. And so when he threw this cloak on Elisha, what he was essentially saying is, come be in relationship with me. I want you to get to the place where you can reach your purpose and your call and your destiny. I want to call you up higher. And so here's what he does. He throws his cloak on him. Here's what's interesting, though. I think, I'm just reading between the lines here, but I think Elisha might have been asking for a sign. Because why else would he just throw a cloak on him without saying any words? I think he might have been asking for a sign. I think he might have been in this current relationship with his parents, and we'll talk about that in a second. And I think something inside of him was saying, there's got to be more to life than this. I don't know if this is what I want. It's not bad, but I think there's better for me. God, would you give me a sign? But what happens when God gives you a sign that doesn't match your heart? What happens when God gives you the sign, but it's not the one you prayed for or the one you wanted? Do we let this desperate, sly, sick, cunning, wicked thing keep us where we are? Or do we follow God? Because here's the deal. Here's the tension of value. People don't realize that value creates tension within itself. And the tension with value is that it's not enough for someone to recognize the value in you. You have to recognize the value in yourself. Because when I don't recognize the value that I possess or the value that I have, I will subscribe to someone else's value of me. Okay, here's the best way I know how to say this. I went to Israel a couple years ago. I know I'm going fast. Are y'all catching this, though? I went to Israel a couple years ago, and it was the first time I had to use a money exchange system. It's the first time I had to use it because they were sending out a bunch of emails saying, hey, I really, really implore you to take your USD and convert it to Israel's money. And I didn't ask no questions. I just did it. But when I got on the plane and I'm talking to some of the people that we're going with, they began to share with me the importance of doing this. And I really think it happens anytime you leave the country and go to a different world, when you go to maybe like the marketplace, or you go to the shops, or you go to the city center and you begin to purchase. What they are banking on, God dog, and what they are hoping on is that you'll use USD to purchase. And the reason why they want you to use your USD to purchase is because they're going to give you the exchange in their own money. And what they're hoping is you don't know the value of your dollar. Because if you don't know the value of your dollar, whatever they give you back is what you'll accept. And the reason why you'll accept it is because you don't know the exchange rate. Oftentimes, so when you use USD, what it ends up happening is overpayment. What I'm telling you is that if you don't know the value in the relationship, if you don't know who you are, if you don't know what you possess, then you will take back whatever someone gives you, oftentimes walking around a relationship overpaying because you don't know your value. You don't know what you bring to the table. You don't know who you are. You don't know that you're a royal priesthood, a chosen generation, that you're the head and not the tail, that you're beautiful, that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, that nothing by any means can harm you, that no one, 1,000 can fall to your left and 10,000 to your right, that you are bad, you are beautiful, you are rich, you are handsome. Come on, come on, come on. You have all of this. I dare you to tell somebody, I dare you to tell someone, yesterday's price is not today's price. You could have had me 5 years ago. Price went up. Inflation. You got to know who you are. Because when you don't know who you are, it's a good chance you're overpaying in the relationship. And you're just accepting whatever they give you. You got to know your value. And some of us, the problem is that we intentionally know our value, but we settle for less because we rather be underpaid than wait for God's best. You know exactly who you are, but you'd rather be that person with less than who you are by yourself. And the problem is you end up overpaying in the area of stress, emotional trauma, damage, and all. Sometimes it's better to just let it burn and be by yourself than to go through the emotions and be miserable. You got to know who you are. Okay, I don't got time. Happy Valentine's Day. Number two. We won't let it burn because we don't see the relationship for what it really is. Look at verse 20. Verse 20. And he left the oxen and he ran after Elijah and said, "Let me kiss my father and my mother, and then I'll follow you." Come here. Ooh. Elisha was told by Elijah, "I want to be in relationship with you." And so he ran after him. Put that Tug-O-War back up there real quick. So he ran after him. Throw that Tug-O-War back up there. Throw the line up there. And right when he got to the brink of his assignment and his purpose and his call, he said, "Let me run back and kiss my father and my mother goodbye." Have you ever, really been on the edge of leaving and you said, "Well, let's be intimate one more time." Oh, can I go there? Let's get up for lunch one more time. Well, let's just see each other one more time. Right to the edge of breakthrough, right to the edge of getting out of your toxic situation, right to the edge of getting out of the person who's held you down, and you literally said, "Well, let me run back for one more kiss." And I love what Elijah says back to him. Look, throw that verse back up there. Watch this. He said, "Go back again. For what have I done to you? Translation, I thought you was ready. I thought you was ready. I thought you were ready to get out of here. But you enjoy being in that comfort zone. I realized that some people enjoy pain. And some of you, I don't want to be insensitive to you wanting to get out because you've been battling it for years, and I don't want to be insensitive to that at all. But what I've come to realize is that some of you guys have endured this thing for so long that you are now classifying mistreatment as mistakes. And you've allowed laziness to become potential. Instead of just letting it burn and getting out of there. There's this African proverb that says, be careful when a naked person offers you a shirt. Oh, I'm about to break this all the way down. It said, be careful when a naked person offers you a shirt. In other words, how do you expect something from someone, the thing that they don't have? And some of you all have been in relationships for so long because you're waiting on them to become what they do not possess. You're waiting for them to give you something that they cannot offer you. So the African proverb says, be careful when a naked person offers you a shirt. Here's your translation. Be careful when someone says, I love you, that can't love themselves. Be careful when an insecure person says, I trust you. Be careful when a liar says, I promise. What I'm telling you is that you cannot expect something from someone who they are not. You can't do it. You cannot do it. No, you got to learn how to, I told you the price was going up. You got to let it burn. So Elijah says, look, I want to go back to my parents. Can I just give them a kiss? Can I just tell them bye? And Elijah looks at Elisha and is like, I thought you was ready to move on. I thought you was ready to go forward. So you got to understand that the enemy knows exactly how you like it. And here's what I discovered, that the enemy will gift wrap your pain in your preference. The enemy will gift wrap pain in your preference. Okay, pain don't show up looking like Urkel. He show up looking like Michael B. Jordan. And I ain't got nothing wrong with Michael B. Jordan. They say we look alike. It's all good. I ain't got nothing wrong with him. But here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying is that he understands your preference. Pain shows up in your preference. Because if it showed up like Urkel, you would run. You wouldn't be interested. So he gift wraps it in your preference. And sometimes what we got to stop telling ourselves or stop convincing ourselves that that similar dysfunction is compatibility. Because we both had a breakup. I don't mean that we're compatible. It just means we got similar pain. Because we both didn't grow up with fathers. It doesn't mean we're compatible. It just means that we've got similar issues. And oftentimes what happens is we allow our dysfunction to be the thing that brings us together. Trouble. And so we got to get to the place where we're seeing things for what they really are and not with rose-colored glasses. Okay, if you can't say amen, just say ouch. But you got to get to the place where you tell yourself, sometimes it's better to let it burn than be burnt. Be burnt emotionally. Be burnt spiritually. Be burnt in my time. Be burnt in my energy. Be burnt in my focus. Be burnt in my finances. Be burnt. And some of us are walking around trying to hold on to something. Because you know what I found out? Come here real quick. I told you it was going to work out today. You know what I found out? That if I play Tug-O-War long enough, I do get burned. My hands do begin to get burned. And some of us rather walk around with burnt hands and burnt hearts than surrendered to God. And we want him to bless something that he's told you to let go of. Are you hearing anything I'm telling you? We got to stop playing tug-of-war. Number 3, I'm about to wrap it up. You will only let it burn when you're convinced that God, you will only let it burn when you're convinced that God has better for you. The reason why so many of us stay in these toxic, relationships is because we are not convinced that God has better for us. You not leaving is a sign of your distrust in God. Run it back. You not leaving is a sign of your distrust in God. You don't believe that the creator of the universe and the orchestrator of your life cares enough for you to bring you someone's going to be good for you. I should have said it this way. Look at this. Look at this. Deep down. Say deep down. You know what's best for yourself. But you hate the thought of her being with someone else. Here's the part we don't want to admit. This is so embarrassing to say. It's so embarrassing to say, but it's so true. Some of you won't move on because you don't want to see them with no one else. And they ain't going to benefit from all the work that I put in. I put all this work in. It's been years. You mean to tell me that they gonna get the... And you think of yourself that small, that you'll stay miserable to prove a point. But here's why. Hold that rope again. Here's what Holy Spirit was showing me. I was doing this, right? I was doing this, and I was in my office, and God said, that's not the way tug-of-war really is. I said, what do you mean? He said, it's not their hands that the rope is around. He said, some of them, it's not that they're playing tug-of-war. They in a soul tie. And every time they get close, you just pull me. Every time they get close to their assignment, and they get close to their purpose, and they know this is where they want to be, it's that soul tie that keeps pulling them back. Because they gave up what was meant for the marriage bed. But this thing told them that in someone else's hands, it was safe. Because it's desperately sick and it's desperately wicked. And now they in a soul tie, trying to get to their purpose and trying to get to their call and trying to get to their destiny, but they can't ever get there because this thing is in the hands of another. So then the question becomes, how do we get free? How do we get to a place where we can move on? I love what John says, John 8, verse 32. Watch this. You know this. And you will know the truth. And it's the truth. See, this thing don't start untying really until you say, you really aren't meant for me. I've given you way too much, and I'm not supposed to. Wait a second, this thing is keeping me from my purpose. This thing is keeping me from my destiny. It's this thing, the way I view you. I've actually put you before God. Before I met you, I was in my word. Before I met you, I was studying. Before I met you, I had dreams and goals and aspirations and desires. And old Slewfoot told me to give my heart to you. No, see, when you start to tell the truth about the relationship that you are in, it will help you walk away. Stop trusting in this. Happy Valentine's Day. And I'm trying to, because some of y'all, you're going to use Valentine's Day, I'm going to get her back. No, let her go. Don't even accept some of them gifts. Listen, keep your money. But you got to look at what Elisha did. Look at what Elisha said. Let's throw verse 21 back up there. And he returned from following him, and he took the yoke of oxen and sacrificed them, watch this, and boiled their flesh with the yokes of the oxen and gave it to the people. Elisha let it burn. He literally let it burn. What did he let burn? You see, those yoke of oxen was the only thing that would keep him from pursuing Elijah. He understood that I'm going to follow you, but if I'm going to follow you, I got to burn everything that will tempt me from going back. And so he went back and he burnt the very thing that would keep him from moving forward in his call and his purpose and his destiny. I wonder what you got to let burn today. Like, who you just need to put on block and unfollow and block them on social too. Like, just don't be real. Why you keep checking for them anyway? Because you're addicted to pain. And you got to get to the place where you say, no, this thing, it keeps me from you. And so maybe it's not a relationship with a person. Maybe like, yo, this lust, I got to burn this thing. Because it keeps me from God. These drugs, this alcohol, this stinking way of thinking, I got to burn. What do you have to burn today? And say, you know what? I'm not going to miss where I'm supposed to be at anymore. Deep down, you know what's best for yourself. Deep down, you know what's best for yourself. So what you going to do? Bow your heads. God, thank you so much for being so good. Thank you for being so awesome, so amazing. God, we acknowledge that we've allowed some stuff to just tie us up. But today, Father, Give us the strength to burn this stuff that keeps us from you, that burns the stuff that keeps us from going after our assignment and our purpose and our call. Give us the strength to leave what's comfortable. Give us the strength to not settle, but to trust that you know what's best for us. I love you, God. Maybe even now you'll take a few seconds to just silently communicate in your heart what you want to let burn. For some of you, it's just straight up, it's a relationship that you just gotta let go of. And I pray that God has given you the strength today. Maybe it's an activity, a nasty habit, a thought pattern, whatever it is. Give it to God today. Burn it, walk away from it. Say, God, I am moving forward. I'm going after you with everything in me.